الحمد لله رب العالمين. نحمدك اللهم سبحانك كما ينبغي لجلال وجهك وعظيم سلطانك. نحمدك اللهم آناء الليل وأطراف النهار معترفين بسلطانك، حامدين شاكرين لنعمائك. ندعو الله سبحانه وتعالى أن يديم علينا نعمه ظاهرة وباطنة، وأن يلهمنا العزم والعزيمة والصبر والثبات على أن نحمده على تلك النعماء. اللهم آمين. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، يحيي ويميت وهو حي لا يموت وهو على كل شيء قدير. شهادة قامت بها السماوات والأرض. ندعو الله سبحانه وتعالى ألا يحرمنا إياها لحظة لقائه. وأشهد أن محمدًا عبده ورسوله وصفيه من خلقه وحبيبه، أدى الأمانة وبلغ الرسالة ونصح الأمة وكشف الغمة، وتركنا على المحجة البيضاء ليلها كنهارها لا يزيغ عنها إلا هالك. اللهم اجزه عنا خير ما تجزي به مرسلا ونبيا. اللهم شفعه فينا شفاعة لا نعذب بعدها أبدا. اللهم اسقنا من حوضه شربة لا نظمأ بعدها أبدا. اللهم آمين. محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم طب القلوب ودواؤها، وعافية الأبدان وشفاؤها، ونور الأبصار وضياؤها. صلى عليك الله يا علم الهدى، ما حبت النسائم وما ناحت على الأيك الحمائم. My dear respected brothers and sisters in Islam, our children, the future of Islam, insha'Allah Rabbil Alameen. The first Friday of the month of Ramadan, we may ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to shower all of us with His mercy, forgiveness, and release us from the hellfire. Bless our time, our relationships, our children, our families, our community, and enable us to do as much as we can, as hard as we can during the month of Ramadan, of the Salah, and Siyam, and Qiyam, and Dua, and Zakah, and Sadaqat, as much as we can, insha'Allah Rabbil Alameen. Allahumma Ameen. During the month of Ramadan, a lot of people do not realize how much of rahmah and mercy of the month of Ramadan would be showering us, and how much of forgiveness Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will grant for us. That's why the hearts of a believer would have as much as they can out of the mercy and forgiveness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. فتخشع الأبدان وتخفو الوجدان. More of khushu', more of humbleness, more of dedication to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala during that month. That's why no wonder when we find out that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is teaching us that أن أوله رحمة وأوسطه مغفرة وآخره عتق من النار. The first 1/3 of Ramadan is a mercy showering all Muslims all over. Second third of it would be forgiveness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And during the last third of the month of Ramadan, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will release ourselves, our necks from the hellfire by His mercy and His grace, insha'Allah Rabbil Alameen. Today I will be more focusing on the second, the maghfirah, the forgiveness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Where Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is teaching us that من لزم الاستغفار جعل الله له من كل هم فرجا ومن كل ضيق مخرجا ورزقه من حيث لا يحتسب. This is the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. If we stick to that istighfar, asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive us, saying astaghfirullah al-azim, astaghfirullah al-azim as many times as you can, stick into it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would give him or her or us a way out from each and every single difficulties or challenges or problems he or she would have. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bestow upon them his rizq, his sustenance. And also Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would give us out of this sustenance what we cannot expect, what we cannot put in our calculation. So إزالة الهم وسحق الضيق وذوبان الضجر لا يتم إلا بلزوم الاستغفار. You'd like to get rid of any difficulties you do have in your life, any challenges you do have in your life, any problems you do have in your life, stick to al-istighfar. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive you. وَمَا أَجْمَلَ أَنْ يَزْدَادَ فِي رَمَضَانِ. Especially during the month of Ramadan, the more we're doing, the more of the acceptance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, especially in that month. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. So this is the ayah, this is the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam teaching about al-istighfar. And in the meantime, you will find in the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is teaching also us about that wonderful practice of a Muslim when we keep making the istighfar to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Where the Quran is saying, as a matter of fact, in that surah, in Surah Nuh, chapter 71, in ayat 10, 11, and 12, where it says, فَقُلْتُ اسْتَغْفِرُوا رَبَّكُمْ إِنَّهُ كَانَ غَفَّارًا يُرْسِلِ السَّمَاءَ عَلَيْكُمْ مِدْرَارًا وَيُمْدِدُكُمْ بِأَمْوَالٍ وَبَنِينَ وَيَجْعَلْ لَكُمْ جَنَّاتٍ وَأَنْهَارًا. Allahu Akbar. That's Sayyidina Nuh calling his people in order to believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to believe in Nuh as a prophet and a messenger, and to follow the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, saying that I said to them, said to his own people, ask forgiveness from your Lord. Verily, he is oft forgiven. He will send rain to you in the abundance and give you increase in wealth and children, and bestow on you gardens and bestow on you rivers. Ya Allah. And just making istighfar, saying astaghfirullah al-azim as many times as you can, as Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to do. Wallahi inni la astaghfiru rabbi fil yawmi 70 marra, making the oath by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, making istighfar to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala 70 times. 70 times. In another hadith saying, inni astaghfiru rabbi fil yawmi 100 marra, make istighfar to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala 100 times. And this is Rasulullah. This is the Prophet. This is the Messenger. He's making istighfar for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if the Prophet made the istighfar 70 or 100 times a day, how about me as an average person? How many times I should make istighfar? You figure it out. You make the calculation. You see, as an average person like us, how much time would making istighfar. We'll come, inshallah, Rabbil Alameen, to how many times we need to do it. And look at the outcome of the istighfar. Look at the outcome of the istighfar as Sayyidina Nuh make that call or that appeal to his own people, subhanallah Rabbil Alameen. First, the forgiveness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and rain abundance and give you money and wealth, give you children, and give you and bestow upon you gardens and rivers. Just by saying the istighfar, yes. This is the deal of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to us. Is it difficult to do? Is it difficult to say? Just have that sincerity and all the time say, Astaghfirullah al-Azim, Astaghfirullah al-Azim. For a very simple reason, because we're human beings, we have our shortcomings, we have our mistakes, we have the wrongdoing. So when I ask Allah to forgive me, He will forgive me. Astaghfirullah al-Azim, Astaghfirullah al-Azim. القرطبي رحمه الله في الآيات دليل على أن الاستغفار يستنزل به الرزق والأمطار. ويقول الحافظ ابن كثير رحمه الله في تفسيره: أي إذا تبتم إلى الله واستغفرتموه وأطعتموه كثر الرزق عليكم وأسقاكم من بركات السماء وأخرج لكم من بركات الأرض وأنبت لكم الزرع وأدر لكم الضرع وجعل لكم جنات فيها أنواع الأنهار وخللها بالأنهار الجارية بينها. Here is the teaching from two of the greatest scholars ever, Al-Hafidh ibn Kathir Al-Qurtubi. Have that repentance to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Go back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ask Him to forgive you for what you have done of wrongdoing and mistakes and shortcomings and so on and so forth. And be obedient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in everything. Look at the outcome you would have. The results, the abundance of many things you would have just by saying the istighfar to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I don't think that it is that difficult if we do it seriously and sincerely to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving us the way out, why not we do it? That's why if you take Sayyidina Sulaiman alayhi salam, when he wanted to have the mulk, the kingdom, that was never given to anyone before him or after him, except another person, subhanallah. When he wanted to have all of that mulk, all of that kingdom, all of what anyone can dream of or what you can't even dream of, Sayyidina Sulaiman radiallahu anhu wa ardah, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, when he said, Rabbi ghfir li, first thing, Rabbi ghfir li, my Lord, you may forgive me. Rabbi ghfir li. And then he asked, وَهَبْ لِي مُلْكًا لَا يَنْبَغِي لَأَحَدٍ مِّن بَعْدِي, and grant me a kingdom will never be given to anyone after me. And it happened. A kingdom. Can you imagine when he was able to speak to all creatures in his kingdom, including little ants on the ground? Speak to them, communicate with them. The jinn, under his supervision, whatever he asked them for, whatever he asked for, even the kingdom and the crown of the queen of Sheba, Malikatu Saba, Bilqis, to ask for it to come to him, and many of his servants were really competing who can bring it, and the jinn told him, I can bring it to you before even you finish blinking by your eyes. And it goes this, coming from Yemen to him. How? He did the istighfar first. رَبِّ اغْفِرْ لِي. First thing, رَبِّ اغْفِرْ لِي وَهَبْ لِي مُلْكًا لَا يَنْبَغِي لَأَحَدٍ مِّن بَعْدِي إِنَّكَ أَنْتَ الْوَهَّابُ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given him everything he wished for. Birds to speak to him, winds to be under his service, wind, subhanallah, and jinn building to him mansions and houses and buildings, and bring to him from earth treasures from the ground to Sayyidina Sulaiman alayhi afdal salatu wassalam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving us a wonderful description about al-muttaqeen, those who are fearing Allah, those who are conscious of Allah, those who are following the teaching of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. والذين إذا فعلوا فاحشة أو ظلموا أنفسهم ذكروا الله فاستغفروا لذنوبهم ومن يغفر الذنوب إلا الله. If they commit any wrongdoing with their shortcomings and mistakes and do something, never be satisfied to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, never please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, ذكروا الله فاستغفروا. Remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and then make the istighfar, asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive them. وَمَنْ يَغْفِرُ الذُّنُوبَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ إِنَّ الَّذِينَ اتَّقَوْا إِذَا مَسَّهُمْ طَائِفٌ مِّنَ الشَّيْطَانِ تَذَكَّرُوا فَإِذَا هُمْ مُبْصِرُونَ. Sayyidina Adam alayhi salam, when he did that mistake, when he was ordered not to touch that tree in Jannah, in paradise, or not even to come closer to it, but he did, because the shaitan was able to convince him to do so. فَتَلَقَّى آدَمُ مِنْ رَبِّهِ كَلِمَاتٍ فَتَابَ عَلَيْهِ إِنَّهُ هُوَ التَّوَّابُ الرَّحِيمُ. Again and again to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive him. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala granted him the forgiveness, though Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the most gracious and most merciful. I would like to share with you a story of a lady. She was at her 30-year-old, and her husband passed away. He died. She had 5 children, boys and girls. Everything in her life became dark, black, helpless, hopeless, crying till the point she was afraid to lose her vision because of the situation she was in, how to take care of her children along with herself, though his husband never left her anything to grant for them a decent life. I was about to give up. Spending in a very, very cautious way, being afraid that if she spent abundantly to her children and to her family, she would lose whatever she inherited from her husband. The other day, you just turn on the radio. It wasn't a TV at that time. Turn on the radio to hear something. And she found out that scholar saying the following. قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم من أكثر من الاستغفار جعل الله له من كل هم مخرجا ومن كل ضيق فرجا. You hear that scholar of Islam saying that whoever intensified himself or herself being indulged in the istighfar, saying Astaghfirullah al-Azim, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make a way out for him or her and for them and help them in the greatest way ever. And she said, from that moment on, I intensified my istighfar, asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive me. And also I ask my children to do the same, to make istighfar, to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive them. Yes, it took them 6 months in a daily basis with that istighfar, never stopped, till the town they were living in, there was a new planning and a new development for the whole town. And whatever they own in that town, a house and a little piece of land around, it was an offer to her to include that house and that town in the development of that town. Meaning whoever is responsible for that project, they have to buy that piece of land along with the house in order to include it in the planning and the development of that town. It brought to them millions and millions of money, while there were almost nothing, no money with them. It's not only this in terms of money to come to them due to the istighfar they made. The oldest son became number 1, the first in his school, memorizing the whole Quran. Memorizing the whole Quran. The khair, the money, the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the happily life, the satisfaction, how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has guided all the kids, the 5 of them, in order to be in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, never felt that they would have any problems or any difficulties in their life. That's a story, a real story. We may learn from it, because sometimes say, this is the hadith of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, this is the ayah of the Quran, how to apply it in our life, and so on and so forth. Another situation, that one between husband and wife, and I'm sure husband and wife would love to hear that story, because in a relationship between a husband and wife, it does not go all the time the way it should. No, there is some ups and downs in the relationship between the husband and wife. There is some argument, there is some dispute, there is sometimes even some fighting. And the husband is saying that whenever I am tough with my wife, whenever I say something not my wife to be happy with, or having a fight or having a dispute, the only thing I do, I leave the house. I get out of the house and run away from that situation. Being mad or being angry, that's the only way I have to deal with it. And the minute I leave the gate of that huge building where his apartment is there living at, feeling that a great desire to go back to home and offer an apology to his wife about what he did or what he said, and seek her rida, her satisfaction and her pleasure, and apologize and be apologetic about what he said and what he included in his argument with her. And he told her why he came back. And she told him, you know why you came back? You know why you're offering that apology to me? You know why you're trying to make me pleased? And he said, why? And she said, قالت بمجرد أن تخرج من الغرفة بعد شجارنا ألهج بالاستغفار ولا أزال أستغفر حتى تأتي وتراضيني. الله أكبر. The minute you leave the house, the minute you go away, I be indulged in istighfar, asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive us, to forgive me and to forgive you. Till Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would made it for you and help you and guide you to come back in order to make me happy and make sure that we are in good term. Ya Allah. Is it a good lesson for husband and wife? And wallahi, for my dear sisters, if he's mad at you, have an argument with you, say something bad to you, if he decides to go, leave the house, be away for a while, the only thing you got to do, make that istighfar. Astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah. Don't do some other things. As some wives, I know, you're not among them. I would do something else or would say something else. These are real stories. Real stories in our life as Muslims. كان الحسن البصري يقول أكثروا من الاستغفار في بيوتكم وعلى موائدكم وفي طرقكم وفي أسواقكم وفي مجالسكم فإنكم لا تدرون متى تنزل المغفرة. الله أكبر. That's Al-Hasan al-Basri, one of the greatest scholars of Islam ever. Be intensifying the way of forgiveness, asking Allah to forgive you as many times as you can. In your houses, in your homes, while you're eating, while you're having your food, while you're walking anywhere, when you go to the market, when you go to the mall, when you be sitting with some people around you. Do it wherever you are, whenever you are, because you will never know when the answer of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the forgiveness you're asking for would be granted to you. Enough to say in the istighfar. لا زلنا في رحاب المصطفى البر لا يبلى والذنب لا ينسى والديان لا يموت كل ابن آدم خطاء وخير الخطائين التوابون والتائب من الذنب كمن لا ذنب له. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive yourself and forgive your spouse, your children, and everyone around you in your family and in the community. Astaghfirullah al-azim. الحمد لله وكفى وسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى. الحمد لله وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأصلي وأسلم على رسول الله صلاة وتسليما يليقان بالحبيب المصطفى النبي المجتبى صلوات ربي وسلامه عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وتابعيه وتابعي تابعيه إلى يوم الدين. My dear respected brothers and sisters in Islam, our children, the future of Islam, inshallah رب العالمين. أوله رحمة ووسطه مغفرة وآخره عتق من النار. That's Ramadan. The beginning is a great mercy upon all of us. The middle would be that forgiveness would be granted for us if we ask for it. And the third one would be the release of our necks from the hellfire. عتق من النار. أكثروا من الاستغفار. أكثروا من الاستغفار. If this is for an average people like us, when we have been indulged in istighfar for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bestow upon us his forgiveness, and open the way for us for rizq and forgive us and do a lot of things for us and so on and so forth. How about the scholars? And are they exempted from that istighfar? And Imam, he doesn't need to make istighfar. A scholar of Islam doesn't need to make istighfar. Everything is granted for him. No wallahi. No wallahi. As a matter of fact, they are the first to be indulged in istighfar more than any average person. Because wallahi, once we occupy this podium, that sometimes, I'm talking about myself, I'm not talking about anyone else. أحيانا يركبنا الغرور. The scholar, the imam, he knows everything. And he reach out and preach and teach, so he's immune of any bad deeds. الله أعلم بما معصيه. والله اللهم اغفر لنا يا رب العالمين. That's why Ibn Taymiyyah رضي الله عنه وأرضاه ورحمه الله said إنه ليقف خاطري في المسألة التي تشكل علي فأستغفر الله 1000 مرة. فأستغفر الله 1000 مرة. That's Ibn Taymiyyah. حتى ينشرح الصدر وينحل إشكال ما أشكل. وقد أكون في السوق أو المسجد أو المدرسة لا يمنعني ذلك من الذكر والاستغفار إلى أن أنال مطلوبي. الله أكبر. That's Ibn Taymiyyah. Ibn Taymiyyah, he has one of the greatest title ever, Shaykhul Islam, the scholar of Islam. Okay? Ibn Taymiyyah, radiallahu anhu wa ardahu wa rahimahullah. He said that sometimes when there is an issue in Islam and he's trying to find out the good answer for that issue from Kitabullah wa Sunnati Rasulillah, from the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, from Quran and from the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He wanted to find an answer. If someone would come and ask him, what do you think, ya Imam, what do you think, Ibn Taymiyyah, about this issue and so on and so forth. And as we all know, once in a while we have a lot of questions to ask our Imam and our scholars, how I can help, how I can find out a solution to this. So he said when he's trying to find out an answer, a solution,